a Chinese restaurant. I don't know. It's an interesting sculpture. Is that a pharmacy? No, that's a bank, right? They're like little book.
Let's go up to the monastery, but you gotta climb up there.
Is it open for the public?
I think so. I don't know. She said something about the views, but
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, we got a Ford Ranger.
it's a big vehicle for here.
Yeah, right? It's interesting. It looks different. It sounds different too. It's diesel.
It's diesel.
These sidewalks and roads are nice because they're like nice
Yeah.
pavers.
Cobblestones are hard to. This is nice.
Yeah, this is smooth.
The old cities where cobblestones are hard to walk on.
I know. Ice cream, wine. Coffee, pastries.
I would not.
And for our specialty wines, I'll tell you the French names before I tell you the German names. Those are a bit more common for us. But here we have the Spätburgunder, the Grauburgunder, and the Weißburgunder. But you all might know them as Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Pinot Blanc. And we do have that white wine specialty, just one red. We also have a really lovely sparkling white wine. You just have to be careful with your pronunciation when ordering it. The bartender might think you're asking for something else. But here we have something called Sekt. That's spelled S-E-K-T, and that is made in the same traditional method as Prosecco. Now, if you were in Colmar this morning, perhaps you could try a glass or two of Strasbourg yesterday, the French version, the Cremant d'Alsace. So very similar to Champagne, but much, much more budget-friendly than Champagne. We'll come back to wine a little bit later on today as we're getting back to the ship. But if you look to the right-hand side here, you'll start to see this kind of dill-like or fern-like plant growing from these long rows of soil. I just heard someone say it. That is left over from asparagus season. So there are a lot of sad Germans here because their favorite crop, season for it has ended. It runs from only about beginning to mid-April all the way to the end of June, specifically June 24th. Now, they were quite obsessed with the asparagus that's grown here because it's white. So during asparagus season, those long rows of soil are covered with a white tarp, which stops sunlight from reaching the soil, which stops the process of photosynthesis. There's no chlorophyll in those stalks of asparagus. And as a result, the white asparagus does tend to have a sweeter taste. You can even say it doesn't have that green taste like the normal green asparagus, but it does have a thicker, more bark-like outer layer that you have to peel back quite a few layers of before you're able to cook it and eat it. Dobo comes fourth largest after China, the US, and Spain. So it's just a little over 8,000 miles long, a little over 13,000 kilometers long. Now we are often asked if it's true that the German Autobahn has no speed limit. And the answer is yes and no. So about 80% of the Autobahn has no speed limit, but we are, unfortunately, in a portion of the Autobahn where we do have a posted speed limit. But we do have someone to blame for this. We can blame the Swiss. So as I said before, we're only about an hour away from that Swiss border, and the Swiss love to come here on the Autobahn in their fancy cars and just rip it up and go as fast as they please. That is because here in Germany, when you get a speeding ticket, the amount of that ticket is based on however many points went over the posted speed limit. In Switzerland, it's the same deal, but the amount of that speeding ticket is also based upon your income. Now, just to show you how tricky this can be, in March of this year, we had a Swiss entrepreneur. He just bought a new Porsche GT3, and he decided to take it out for a little test ride on the Swiss Autobahn. He was clocked at going 120 in a 60 mile per hour or so. He was given a $500,000 US dollar speeding ticket. His car was impounded and then auctioned off. So if you ever buy a new fancy car, the Swiss Autobahn is not the place to test it out on. So that is why we do have a posted speed limit in this area. But it's a bit different than what I'm used to back home, where I'm used to seeing, or in a very unlucky case, not seeing a police officer that's tucked themselves around the corner with a little radar gun, and once you drive past them going over the speed limit, they'll turn on their lights, pull you over, let you know you have a nice speeding ticket waiting for you. Well, here it is a little bit different. They are kind sometimes. They'll give you a little warning sign that says radar. Just a ways past that sign will be a tall black tower with a bunch of cameras inside. Once you drive past that tower going over the speed limit, those cameras will take a photo of your license plate and at your convenience, send your speeding ticket straight to your mailbox. Now the fastest speed ever recorded here was in 1938 by German race car driver Rudolf Gadagiola, and his fastest speed recorded was 268 miles per hour or 426 kilometers per hour, so he was quite a fast guy. Now as we are driving along today, you might take note of the license plates that are passing us. We do come from a lot of the neighboring countries around Germany. They're not coming here just for fun and to get out their need for speed. They're coming here for economical reasons because the German Autobahn has no toll. The forest itself was only formed about 6,000 years ago, and it was mostly made up of different types of fir, spruce, and beech trees, all very closely compacted together. It was a very dense forest, and it didn't allow a lot of sunlight to reach that forest floor. Now, when the Romans first arrived here, like the Celts centuries before them, they shunned the mountain terrain. They weren't used to its harsh climate and conditions. They also didn't like how dark and scary it was inside the forest. There were these wild Alemannic or Germanic tribes living in the forest that would constantly drive the Romans away. The Romans also had these reported sightings of little red-eyed demons jumping from tree to tree. These little red-eyed demons would also run into their campsites and steal their food. Little did they know that this was just a red squirrel, but because of how frightened they were, they did not explore the Black Forest. They simply left it as a black spot on their maps, and they referred to it in Latin as the Silva Nigra. Silva meaning forest, Nigra meaning black. This name is still used in the German language, der Schwarzwald, or the Black Forest. So we can actually thank the Romans for the name for the Black Forest. Not only can we thank the Romans for the name, we can also thank them for the discovery of the thermal hot springs in this area. So those were discovered about 2,000 years ago. Those thermal hot springs have been modernized into beautiful and relaxing spas. Now, something that might make you a bit jealous of the German healthcare system, you can actually go to your doctor and have it prescribed to visit a thermal hot spring, and it could even be covered by your health insurance. So soaking in a thermal hot spring, you're full of a lot of different minerals that can help improve blood circulation and even help to reduce inflammation. So Germans really love visiting these hot springs. They love to go to the sauna, and will even pass a special campsite later on today. We'll get to see another favorite pastime activity of theirs. already start to take a guess as to what that might be. It involves swimming. You can start to think if they'll be wearing clothing or not. But saunas were a bit of a culture shock for me in that regard when I came here. I was put into a dorm with 8 other people, which I would never wish upon anyone, even my worst enemy. And one of my roommates would talk about how she would frequently go to the sauna with her mom and dad. I found this just slightly disturbing, if not a bit bizarre, because you have to enter the sauna the same way that you entered this world. There can be no textiles, no t-shirts, no bathing suits, only a little towel to sit on. Now, I love my parents, but this is something I could never do, so definitely one of the biggest culture shocks for me when I first arrived here. But we are entering the outskirts of the gateway to the Black Forest, the 900-year-old city of Freiburg. So Freiburg is the 4th largest city in the state of Baden-Württemberg, the state we live in. It has about 250,000 inhabitants, with 25,000 of those being students out of the city. Unbeknownst to him, his wife had actually removed all of the gold and then refilled his barrels with sand and pebbles. So he did not get the memo about happy spouse, happy house. Now just to the left-hand side here, you can see these railway tracks. This isn't for the train, this is actually for the Straßenbahn, or the city tram. So Freiburg offers a great transportation system here. We have 5 different tramways, or saying that 5 times fast, 5 different tramways that go all throughout the city of Freiburg. They'll take you to kind of the outskirts of the city. Once you reach those outskirts, then you have a lovely bus system that will bus you in and out of the city. And then of course we do have our regional trains as well. But sales for cars here in Freiburg are actually going down, as most people are purchasing an e-bike or a regular bike to kind of get to and from the city. So it is a very green city here. Sometimes we like to call ourselves Little Amsterdam as well, but less dangerous than Amsterdam. Now coming up on the left-hand side, this not so attractive building was built in the 1970s. This is the Prachtgante. You will just inside the front gate here to the left, you'll see a beautiful mural of a tree boy. This is our local brewery here, and a lot of the locals will tell you that the Gante beer isn't that good. I can confirm. We have better beers out there, but you do have to have a bit of Freiburger pride and be proud of your local brewery. Now, as we've been driving through Freiburg, you might have noticed there is a lot of graffiti in this city. Well, it is a huge university town, so that is definitely a contributing factor. But all along the river Breisach, there are these stone walls that kind of go up and around that river. They are legally permitted to tag and spray paint on those walls to try and deter them from spray painting more historical buildings. But as you can see, it doesn't always work that way. But the Germans kind of have this mindset that there's no point in painting over any of the taggings, because you're essentially providing them with a blank slate to come back and start all over again. Now, but if you'll look straight ahead, very middle boulder, you can see a cross just on top of there. We're going to come around the bend, around this boulder here to the left, and just look straight ahead, about midway up, and you'll see a blue bronze stag statue. So look out of the very front coach window on the right as we pass. You'll have to crane your neck up a bit. He's just about midway up there. Now, normally he is a white bronze stag statue, but he's been spray painted blue for the European flag. But the legend behind the stag goes
So ornate. Get something here for Gianna. These are those. Oh yeah. Some of this stuff.
Well, I think that.
That would probably collapse.
It comes, and it probably comes in a box.
She's touching stuff.
Sorry, that's not to do that. Touch her, sorry.
At the back, you do not have to worry. We have the screen above here. There you should be able to see whatever is going on. All right, very good. Okay, just a quick reminder once again for the Cocoa Club presentations. We're just about to start right here by the workbench. If you're far away, you want to see or listen to the clock presentations, we're just about to start. Let me have a quick look downstairs. Yeah? All right. Oh, excuse me. Okay, I guess we can start right away. Are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah. Is it too hot? Yeah. I know, I believe it. I believe it. All right, so let's just start right away. First, I say a very good afternoon to you all and welcome you all into the Black Forest. My name is Bax, and we'll be talking about a short history of how clocks are made here in the Black Forest, right? But first, I will start by showing you a replica of the first clock made here, 1640. It's very simple. You can see it's all made out of wood, and then inside we have 3 wooden wheels as mechanisms, stones serving as weights on the front with just one hand. And then on top we have wooden beams serving as balance, because by then pendulums were not known. And with this clock you have to wind it up at least 2 times a day so the clock keeps running, right? So these were the types of clocks back then in 1640. It's very simple, no cuckoo, no music, no nothing, right? And also for the fact that it's with just one hand, sometimes you do have to do a little bit of guessing to know the actual time. But I believe if you look at it very well, you should be able to read and know what time it is, right? Well, maybe you can help me tell me what time we have. Not from there, from here. Huh? That's very close. 2:05 is very close. Another try, please. 2:10. I would say 2:10. Right. So this is 2 here, okay? And the dot here will have been 2:30. But you can see it's just a little bit below the 2. 2:10. Good. But after some time, in 1720, then they come up with this one here. This time around with a pendant face, with 2 hands, 2 metal weights, a pendulum, and then inside we have mechanical movements, and also for the first time we have the introduction of the cuckoo. So cuckoo tells you the time, right? But every half an hour he comes only 1 time, and on the hour, now it's gonna be 4, he comes 4 times. So this is one of the ideas of the cuckoo clock. You do not really have to look at the time to know what time it is. Listening to the sound, you know it's 5, 10, 11, or 12. Now also we have something like this one here. See a guy walking in his workshop, and behind him there stands a lady. And guess what? Lady's got something like this in the hands. Now let's see what happens if the guy doesn't work hard enough. This is what happened, and bad luck for him. Now it's gonna be 6 times on the head. And we also call that one the mother-in-law clock. Now, how are clocks being made? The first step is to choose the wood, which is called lime wood. Some call it basswood, okay? All the same, it's a very soft wood, which is ideal for carving. First have to be cut into pieces, leave it to dry for about 4 years, then it can be put into good use. And then the next step will be doing the casing. And that's the only part which is done by machine, okay? Apart from that, all the details or the carvings you see here were all done by hand using tools like this, okay? But sometimes, on special occasions, they also use tools like this. You know what's that for? Yeah. Very good, good. And then on the front, then comes the frame. And on top, so this is how the front face of a simple traditional cuckoo clock looks like, okay? But it's not done yet. To make it finished, then they put inside what we call the movements, or if you like, the mechanisms. And we have 4 different types of movements. So these 2 right in the middle with the disc on top are movements for clocks with music, weekly and daily, and these other 2 are movements for clocks without music, weekly and daily, all right? Now, the point here is, what do I mean by weekly and daily? You know, all our mechanical clocks are powered or driven by the gravity of the weights, okay? Now, based on that, some clocks you do have to wind up at least 1 time a day, so the clock keeps running. These are called the daily clocks or the 1-day ones, and others have to be wind up at least once a week, known as the weekly clocks or the 8-day ones. Now, how do you tell them apart? You just have to look at the size of the weights. Small weights like these, you will see on the daily winding mechanisms. These have to be wind up at least 1 time in every 24 hours. And heavy weights like these, you will see on the weekly winding ones. These have to be wind up at least once in every 8 days. Also, we have some with very small weights like these. And these ones you have to wind up every 5 minutes. No, that was a joke, all right? So these ones are only on battery-operated clocks, okay? They're just for show. Decorations, you do not have to do anything. As well as these wooden weights, or even sometimes plastic, okay? All these are just for showpiece. You will see them only on the battery-operated clocks. Now, how do you wind up the clocks? To wind up the clocks, say for example on this guy here, you want to wind up, simply grab it by the chains, slowly and gently pull the weights to come back to the top. Right back to the top on all 3 of them, right? Not from the other way around. You take it by the weights, the clock might entirely come down, okay? Now, also for all our mechanical clocks with music, they all need to have what we call the music box. Now, you can hear music playing in the background, right? So that is actually from the battery-operated clocks, okay? Those are recorded sound, right? So those, and they've got 12 different tunes. Every hour, new tune is played. Whereas these have 2 songs, and we have them on the mechanical cuckoo clocks. Right, so I'll just play it round for you, and you listen to it. Can you hear? Nothing. All right, now I'll show you a small trick. How about now? Do you know why? Huh? No, because it's made in Germany, that's why. No, but you're right. I mean, it's got wood here, so after an amplifier resonates the sound to go that loud and clear. Again, when you look behind me, you will realize that this clock here has got 3 weights. Here we've only 2. What's the difference? Why do we have the additional weight on this one here? Any idea? No? Very good. That's the word I'm looking for. Music, right? Because each weight is for a function, okay? One weight is for the call of the cuckoo, one for the time, and the third weight for the music and the dancers, just like you see in here. So that's another way to tell our clocks apart. You see a mechanical clock with 3 weights, you know it's got the cuckoo, music, and time. 2 weights, only the cuckoo and time, no music, okay? Now, how do we have the sound of the cuckoo? The sound of the cuckoo is produced by what we call wooden bellows, right? And we put the 2 together, we go like. So the bigger the clock, the bigger the bellows. These are on the bigger ones, and on the medium-sized ones, right? And we also have what we call baby cuckoos, and the baby ones go like this. That's a very cute one, right? Well, in that case, you do not really have to buy a cuckoo clock. You can buy 2 of these, sit at home every hour. There we go. Now, and also for the night, there's a lever on the sides of all the clocks, so you can always turn it off, and there he goes silent, nothing. In the morning, when you wake up, put the lever back on again, and there he wakes up with a sweet voice, right? And for the battery-operated clocks, they've got light sensors on the sides, so whenever it is dark at night, then cuckoo automatically goes silent, no cuckoo, no music, no nothing, okay? So all in all, we have about 200 clocks here in the shop, and prices are all in euros, but if you want, you can pay with American dollars, also with bank cards, credit cards, and debit cards. And we also do ship worldwide, fully insured, flat rate shipping cost of 79 euros, okay? It doesn't matter the size or the quantity, 79. With the exception of those big boys over there. So those have got some special prices, okay? But nonetheless, whatever you get from here and also from the glass shop, we put everything together for you in one box for 79 euros. And also what we do for you is to do the tax for you, because prices here includes the tax of Europe that you do not have to pay, okay? Now, if you buy and you would like to get it shipped, we do the tax right here by taking off 13.5% from the price and then ship it for 79. So in most cases, the 13.5% of the price normally pays for the shipping or part of it, okay? And also our clocks have got 2 years international guarantee, and in America we have 4 service centers, England, Australia, and other parts of the world. The good thing is, if you get one, any problems, you can easily contact your own people and they can help you out, okay? Now, all the clocks you see on this side of the wall going towards my back are the mechanical ones. These are the ones you have to wind or pull, and all the ones on the other side of the wall by your right are the battery-operated clocks, okay? So, that's all I have for you, and I thank you all for your attention, and enjoy the Black Forest. Thank you.
Yeah, I love ice cream. Oh, good sternum. So this was an original inn, like from the 15th, 16th century. But over the door it says 1859. This is when it was
I'm sure it's been replaced several times,
rebuilt.
so this is the last one.
Can we go in it?
The last innkeeper who died in 1917 was also part of the Felder family. And until today, his grave can be seen at St. Margaret's Chapel. 1 year after his death, the whole estate became state-owned. Finally, in 1985, all the lands and buildings were bought by the Breisach family, who still owns it today.
Should be able to go in. Interesting. Hey. No. I'm assuming this is the way they strip wood. Get it ready for building. Get the bark off of it.
Time is it? Steel construction, 1855.
What's this? Dollhouse?
Toll.
Toll house.
Yeah, it says it has a 13% grade. It had to be kept in good shape. Therefore, a toll house and road duty system was established in the 13th century, and a toll house was built by order of the local government and landlord. Tax collectors, they were in charge of the valley trail and employed the roadmen. Today's building was a recreation built in 1980s.
So there's a duplicate. Yep.
So there was always something kind of here.
Yeah.
Toll house was probably like a stagecoach kind of a stop situation, and
Which is what this would have been.
house to stop midway,
Place to eat.
place to eat midway. As you work through.
And everything around it is the Black Forest. And that was because the Romans, they called it the Black Forest when they got here.
Right.
That's what she said.
Yeah. And then of course
Because it was scary, it was dark.
right. And they saw these red-eyed squirrels. Couldn't figure out what the heck they were running around all at night with little red eyes. So it freaked them out. They were red-eyed squirrels. Because they didn't have red-eyed squirrels. Wow, this building's been here, Rob. Look.
Yeah, that's
But the knock on the
Which one is
chapel's
that
not.
one?
That's this building.
oh.
This is the No, that's not.
That's
this
the
building.
river. The chapel would have been right there.
Yeah, I think you had to go up that little road to see the chapel. They must have moved it. Or it got bombed.
That
and they-
building's been here, a version of it.
Yeah. A lot of it got bombed. I'm sure it's been rebuilt.
No more sun. I don't know if I would drink that. Do we go into the Black Forest or no?
Well, you could have hiked through it. Yeah, that's what you could have done with her, but it's too hot.
That's okay.
My name is Miguel, and I'll be demonstrating you today on how to assemble a beautiful Black Forest cherry cake. Before I start doing so, I'll just give a bit of a quick insight on the history of the Black Forest cake on how it's come about. Well, the Black Forest cake was invented in 1915 here in the Black Forest by a German pastry chef by the name of Joseph Keller. Now, when Joseph Keller invented the actual Black Forest cake, he wanted a cake to represent the region of the Black Forest. So how did he do so? Well, he based his cake on the official costume for the ladies of the Black Forest. So by using the following ingredients to represent that outfit, he used chocolate sponge cake to represent the black dress, whipped cream for the white shirt, and for the red pom-pom hat, have a guess. Cherries, exactly. Do all of you know the meaning of the red pom-pom hat? Yeah. For the people who don't know, at the back there, shaking no. Okay, if you're a lady and you're wearing this red pom-pom hat to a special event, wearing this outfit, which they still do these days, the red hat, the red pom-pom hat signifies that you're single or you're available. If you wear a black pom-pom hat, means that you are married. Okay? Now you know. So, ingredients that I'll be using to assemble the cake: chocolate sponge cake cut into 3 separate layers, a block of pure dark chocolate, 8 cups of cream, just a little cream, sour cherries, sour cherry jam, and guess what's the most important ingredient of all? Spot on. Now they call it Kirschwasser. Kirschwasser translates to cherry water. Another name for it too, as you may know, it's Schnaps. And us Germans in Germany call it medicine too. Okay? Yes. If you're interested in making your own black forest cake at home with the local ingredients from the Black Forest, we have a little cake kit set which comes with the sour cherry jam, the sour cherries, the Kirschwasser or the Schnaps, and the recipe inside. If you're interested, you can purchase these at the counter for one of my colleagues, and they'll also be able to bubble wrap for you for transport. At the end of the demonstration, you're more than welcome to come and take photos of the cake or with me, and also grab a postcard. The postcard on the back's got the recipe for the sponge cake and for the black forest cake. And if you scan the little QR code in the right hand top corner of the card, that QR code will take you to a link to a video which will show you step by step what I'm doing here today. So let's get started. First layer of the sponge cake, we're going to grab this, we're going to turn it over, place it on the board, and now we're moving on to the sour cherry jam. We're going to utilise 5 tablespoons of sour cherry jam. Now we're going to be spreading the jam across the sponge cake, but leaving around the edges, approximately 1/2 inch to 1 inch free of jam around the edges, all the way around. What are your thoughts about that? Why do you think I'm doing that? Exactly, where it doesn't squish out the sides. Because if it does, it'll smudge the cream with the size of the cake. So the next step is we're going to place sour cherries now across the jammed area on the sponge cake. Now the cherries, we want to place them next to each other, not on top of each other. Just keep a nice even layer. Now in the centre of the cake, in the middle, we're going to leave an area free of cherries, right in the centre. Why do you think I'd be doing that? Any guesses? Spot on, when you cut it. You got it spot on, sir. It comes down to the cutting, as the gentleman mentioned, because what will happen is if you have cherries in the centre, more than likely when you go to cut your slice of cake, it won't cut through properly. And then the tip of your slice will break off as you pull the slice away. So as you can see there in the TV screen, it's cherry free in the centre. So the next step is our cream now. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Any more? Yes? No? No? I'll go one more for the nose. What about now? I'll go one more. There you go. That's 5 spoons of cream per layer. Now what we're going to do is we're going to spread this cream across the sponge cake like this. Now we've got to cover the area of the sponge cake completely with cream. If it goes outside of the area a little bit around the edges, that's fine. I normally allow a little bit to go outside of the area of the sponge cake around the edges, and you'll see the reason for that at the end. I'll explain to you why I do it. Next step is our next layer of the sponge cake. Now what ingredient do you think will go on next? Jam? No. Kirschwasser? Yes, exactly. Now, if you do want to make a cake at home, alcohol-free, instead of the Kirschwasser, what you can use is the juice of the cherries. These are canned cherries, so when you strain them, keep the juice, utilise that instead. Or also, if you happen not to like the strength of the Kirschwasser, because it is 40% alcohol, what you can also do is a 50-50 blend with the juice of the cherries if you wish. But today, we're keeping it traditional, so here we go. Look at that, it's just a drizzle. And here we are. Next step now is cream again. Same amount. That's 2. Just making sure you're paying attention. 5. So same process, covering the sponge cake area with cream. Now we move on to the last layer of the sponge cake. This layer we turn it over as well. Set it on top. And now we move on to cream again. Now you've been practicing your German. Let's count in German. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So spreading this cream across the sponge cake. Now if you do make this cake at home, a little recommendation for you is do not cut the cake or serve it straight after you finish making it. As tempting as it can be. As you can see as well, the amount of cream we use to make the cake, best is to refrigerate the cake for at least 12 hours or best overnight so the cream sets nicely, and then cut the cake. Because if you cut the cake straight after you finish making it, you more than likely end up with a squashed cake. Also, if you do store it overnight in your refrigerator, put a lock on your fridge, yes? Now, as I was doing the layers with the cream, I mentioned I allow a bit of excess cream to go outside the area of the sponge cake around the edges. Why? Because we've got to cover the side of the cake. So watch how easily and quickly now we can cover the cake just by utilising that cream. So we'll start off here. And as you can see, it's pretty much covering it all. And now what we need to do is smooth it out. And now we'll touch up the areas where the sponge cake is shown. So we'll start off here. Okay, with the edges on top, we clean them up like this. Just build up this edge a bit. And we set. So out of the 8 cups of cream that I made, it's all that's left. Any volunteers to lick the bowl? No? Okay. Excuse me. Okay, next step, block of chocolate. I'm going to grab the block of chocolate with a serrated knife, and we're going to do this. Okay, that's broken off. And we are set. Now, as I mentioned before, we shouldn't cut the cake yet because it needs to be refrigerated. So this cake's not going to get cut now. It's going to go in a refrigerator after the demonstration. It'll be served in the morning. So if it's not going to get cut now, what do you think I'm going to utilise this tool though for? Exactly. We're going to mark our slices so we know exactly where to cut it later on, and also so we know exactly where to decorate it with our cream rosettes and cherries on top. So we're just going to centre it on the cake. The weight of it pretty much does its job. We just move it side to sides, backwards and forwards, and our 8-inch slices are marked. Next step is our cream rosettes. And we're going to place a cream rosette on every single slice. And now lastly, we're going to place a cherry on every single rosette, like this. And ladies and gentlemen, here we have a beautiful Black Forest cherry cake. Thank you for your attention. Hope you enjoy the demonstration and wish you all safe travels. Thank you.
Your next German word for the day, this will be Rathaus. Rathaus in German means town hall, and a good way to remember that it means town hall is if you think of the word rat and Rathaus and politicians. It might help you remember that word just a little bit better there. So most of the homes that you will see in this village will be multi-housing units. It is quite expensive to have just a single family home, even if you want to purchase just a single family home or build one yourself. Especially in Freiburg, if you'd like to build your own home, it can cost anywhere from $500,000 up to €1 million. So it's very expensive, and most people just rent in Freiburg, and that's also very expensive in and of itself. We have a bit of a housing shortage in Freiburg, so a lot of people will do a WG or a multi-roommate situation. You even see some cases where you can have up to 13 other roommates.